Week 12 in the NFL, and welcome into Eagles Cowboys pregame show, the Verizon pregame show here on the Set 200 Show YouTube channel. So much to get into when it comes to this Eagles offense and whether or not they will figure it out in this game against the Cowboys and whether or not the defense can, in fact, keep it going against the Cowboys. But, you know, let's ask the question everyone's thinking. Hey, Gunner, how was your week?
Oh, my week was great, man. Let me tell you something. Oh, all the fans' feelings I hurt and stuff like this.
Yes.
People don't want to know the truth. All they want to see is the W's and the L's. They don't want to know the truth. You know, that stuff doesn't bother me. See, people have to understand, first of all, you got a lot of people out there in social media, you know, who are tough guys, you know, on social media. Okay, that's cool. You know, say what you want to do, what you want to do. But the people who are in the know, like you guys, all my brethren and sisters in the media, former players, they said it accurately all week long. Gunn doesn't put it out there unless he does his homework and his facts. And I'm not tooting my own horn. That's what I've done for over 4 decades, covering teams coast to coast, okay? Number one. Now let's put it out there. Since all these people are already whining, you know, on the show chat, you know, good afternoon, show chat. Keep on talking. You can't faze me. Let me put it to you like this, and I want to hear both your responses. Number one, all this stuff comes out, right? And then all of a sudden, you start hearing more and more, not just from me, not just regionally, from people across the country, okay? From his hometown in Houston to Alabama to Oklahoma. How many players in that Eagles locker room came out this week and supported him? In all the times I've covered this game, if something like this were to happen, you know what the first thing players will say? I don't know where that came from. He's our guy. You know, we back him 100%. Did you hear any of that this week?
I did not.
Usually when a firestorm, an alleged firestorm like this starts, an organization will immediately tell a PR person, get a statement out. We back him 100%, yada, yada. Did you see any statement from the Philadelphia Eagles?
Not one.
All I got to say. All I got to say. That's all I'm going to say about this whole thing. No player came out and defended him. AJ was asked at his locker. What did AJ say? Man, ask me about Dallas. Okay? See, people want to first they want to put the onus on AJ that he's crying. AJ, he may have sounded selfish, but he was telling us the offense is not working. We're winning in spite of the offense. We want to contribute. We should be winning by more, okay? And then we single out AJ. We let coaches off the hook to a certain degree. We let certain problems off the hook to a certain degree. So now it comes out, all of a sudden they're 8-2. He's a Super Bowl MVP. Seth, you played this game at the highest level. You know a lot of players, a lot of former players in the NFL. How many great teams had internal problems but were still successful? I just say once that they can't be successful with internal problems. They're 8-2, finding ways to win games, right? He's not turning the ball over. You didn't hear me say anything about this. Here's the funniest one, though. Somebody attributed to me. He called it Carson Wentz 2.0. Did you ever hear me come out of my mouth say that? No. So that's what I hate about social media. Somebody takes a story, it runs like wildfire, and then it's told 35 different ways inaccurately. But you guys know me, and a lot of people do. I don't put stuff out there unless I do my homework. Nobody came in the organization to support him in one way, any way, shape, or form. The only thing the head coach came out in the press conference the day after they came out and said is, I don't have a problem with Jalen. What does that mean? What is a head coach supposed to do? He's supposed to bring unity, not division, right? He did exactly what he's supposed to do. Plain and simple. Floor is yours, gentlemen.
All right, Gunner, thank you. We'll see you in postgame.
I'll see you in postgame.
All right, so here's one thing I will say about Gunner. I don't give a lot of time to people that just want to stir the pot. I know if you have something, you're going to report it. It's not necessarily, it's not your opinion. Somebody told you something, and other people told you something. You're going to report it, and that's your job. Seth, are the Eagles then, are they justified in being frustrated with their quarterback, who, by the way, is only on pace for a career year in completion percentage, or excuse me, close to completion percentage, passer rating, and passing touchdowns, and a career low in interceptions? Are they justified in being frustrated with Jalen Hurts?
Oh, man, this thing has just got a life of its own. And I think that, you know, you see people in the chat, you've been hearing people all week long, oh, let it go, why bring it up? We bring it up because it's newsworthy. That's what we do. We analyze, we bring news to you. Like, think about it. If some other entity had this information, okay, and they broke it, would you still feel the same way? See, the problem is there's a difference between, working in the media and trying to be a media person and reporting the news, which sometimes is not the most favorable thing in the world because on the other side, the fans just want you to be a fan.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And I tell people all the time, I'm an ex-player. I now reside in the media. It's not my job to pull out my pom-poms and do cartwheels and back handsprings, cheering for the Eagles. Do I want the Eagles to win? I want the Eagles to go 17-0 every year, okay? I want Jalen Hurts to throw for 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns every year. I want A.J. Brown to have, 2,000 yards and 25 of those 50 touchdowns. I want Saquon Barkley to rush for 2,000 yards every single year and for the Eagles to win every Super Bowl from now into perpetuity, okay? But realistically, our job is to watch the game, take our years of knowledge about the game, your inside people that you get information from that lets you know the inner workings of what's going on, okay? And if it's conversation worthy, then it's conversation worthy. If you don't like it, you don't have to tune in and listen to it.
There you go.
You don't have to watch it. But it's conversation worthy because you're talking about, the most polarizing team probably in the National Football League, in one of the most polarizing cities in the nation. So it's worthy of the conversation that we have, and you can't get mad and say, oh, well, let's see receipts. Well, who said it? Yeah. You're talking behind the scenes. No, listen, the media doesn't work that way. You know what I'm saying? If sources were released, then that means that there would never be any credibility between sources and reporters ever again. See, that's the ignorance of people not understanding how media actually works, okay? There have been people that have been locked up in jail because they would not reveal their sources. They've been locked up for contempt of the court. You understand what I'm saying? It doesn't work that way.
Exactly.
So people's true fandom is getting in the way of what the facts truly are. Now, does that mean that the Eagles can't go on and win the Super Bowl? No. And by the way, let me say this, okay? If what is said on this show, if what D. Gunn has reported, and I have, regurgitated on many different platforms throughout the week, if that's the reason why the Philadelphians don't get back to the Super Bowl, well, guess what? This damn team got bigger problems than that, okay? Because there's no way in hell that you can tell me that some things that are said on this show seeped into the locker room and caused dissension. Oh, Jalen Hurts is going to want to, y'all going to run him out of town. Where the hell he going? He going to run away from $50 million? Are y'all stupid or what? Come on. Use your brain, people. There's a difference between context and content, okay? I don't give a damn about clicks. Understand that.
Thank you.
I appreciate each and every person that watches anything that derives from my channel, okay? But understand me. I don't give a damn about no clicks, okay? I'm here reporting on football, reporting on the team that I love because this is my passion and this is what I love to do. And if you don't like that, there's nothing that I can do about that, okay? That's just the facts. Just the facts. You can't have the good without the bad. Now, this team is in prime position, and there's nothing that the media is going to say or the media is going to do that's going to change that. What's going to change anything is them going out and doing what's necessary on the field. We're talking about the storylines, and that's the way it should be, okay? And if people got a problem with it, have a problem with it. Come at me if you want to, but I'm telling you right now, you come respectfully because I come to you respectfully. You come at me disrespectfully, I will cut you every which way to Sunday with my words, and then I'll go to the top of my page, and those 3 little dots up there, I will click it, and I will block your ass, okay? Now, let's talk about our beloved Eagles and these damn Cowboys that we don't like, Mark.
Let's do that. So a lot of people sticking their chests out in Cowboy Nation because they won last week against the Raiders. So congratulations on that one. Now, we talk about get-right games a lot, Seth. Do you think the Cowboys had a get-right game against the Raiders, and we'll see a better version of them in this matchup than we did even week 1 this season?
Listen, I think that the Cowboys are a supremely talented team in some areas. They've got, a great set of wide receivers, a serviceable tight end on the offensive side of the ball, and they've got a running game all of a sudden that's averaging 120 yards per game, something they haven't had in a long time, which allows Dak Prescott, to operate on a different level. Then you go over on the defensive side of the ball. They got tons of talent over there. The problem is they're dysfunctional. They've had injuries. They've made some trades. They got rid of their 2 best guys on the edge, and now they got 2 guys on the inside that are a problem. And those guys are right in the midst of the weakest point of our offensive line, in my opinion. Right. We've got to figure out how we handle those 2 guys today, or it's going to be a long day trying to run the ball or throw the ball. And now we're really going to have to rely on the defense to be able to try to stop the juggernaut that CeeDee Lamb and Pickens are.
Well, not only that, but Demarion Overshawn is back as well on the outside, the will linebacker. So they're starting to get healthy again. They made the big trade for Kenny Clark, which sent obviously Micah Parsons to Green Bay. Now they got Williams in the middle. That's over 600 pounds of beef in the middle of that defensive line they didn't have before. And now they've got a little bit better edge rusher coming from the outside on the will linebacking spot. Again, you look at their 4 wins, look at who they beat. They haven't beaten anybody this year, really. But it's something about when Dallas plays the Eagles down in Dallas, it's always more interesting and entertaining than it should be. There's no question the Eagles have the superior roster. There's no question that even with the deficiencies the Eagles have along the offensive line right now, they should win this game hands down. But what's that old saying? Sometimes when there's certain opponents, you got to throw the book out the window, because you can sit here and analyze an Eagles-Cowboys game all week long, especially playing down there. And there's always something crazy that happens in one of these games down there. So I look for a very entertaining game, and I can't decide if this is going to be a shootout or one of these 23-20 type games, because Dallas scores a lot more points at home on that carpet than they do when they're playing outside on natural grass.
I don't for 1 second believe that Dallas can win this game.
Can score 30 points.
I just don't.
Right.
I just don't.
Right.
I think that you got Jalen Carter.
Yep.
That's got to axe the grind.
Yep.
And I think he's going to show up and show out today. We've got guys that can rush off the edge. It's a tale of an offense and a defense on the Dallas Cowboys side, because you look at them offensively, they're 3rd in total yards, 2nd in passing, 7th and 3rd down, 1st against the pass, 12 against the rush, and 13th in the red zone. Then you go over on the defensive side of the ball, they're 30th in total offense, they're 31st in points, 32nd and 3rd down, 29th in red zone, 24th against the rush, and 30th against the pass. So something's got to give. Like, when you look at it, if the defense can hold this offense, if they can play half as well as they played the last 2 weeks,
right,
this game is a wrap.
Yep.
Now, you guys have mentioned the personnel added to the Dallas Cowboys since the Week 1 matchup. Well, the Eagles have certainly done some additions there. You mentioned Jalen Carter. He did not play in the game, was thrown out before the first snap for the spitting incident with Dak Prescott. Obviously, that counted as a game suspension. And then also Jalen Phillips being added to the mix here as well. Both these defenses, how different should they look, especially, Gunnar, when you look at the defensive side of the ball for the Eagles? How much different should it be for what Dak Prescott is bearing down?
Well, you look at just the addition of Jalen Phillips and how that has increased the pressure. It's funny, both of these teams are near the bottom of the barrel when it comes to quarterback sacks. But this Eagles defense has been so good since the addition of Jalen Phillips, just putting pressure on the quarterback. Look at what they did to Jared Goff. They didn't get to Jared Goff that many times, but look at how uncomfortable they made him. We're watching him earlier right now playing against the Giants, and how he's sitting back there in the pocket planting his foot and finding his targets. He didn't have that leeway last week against the Eagles. See, when he throws on the run, he's not the same quarterback. When you let him go to his play action, fake the dive, hand off, and stand back there and survey the situation, that's when a Jared Goff tears you up. Dak Prescott is similar to a Jared Goff in the sense that Dak is not looking to run. Dak is looking for open space and buy time to find one of his receivers. So if the Eagles, with the addition of Jalen Phillips today, can get that kind of pressure on Dak Prescott as they did on Jared Goff a week ago, kudos for the Eagles. Big advantage for the Eagles over the Dallas Cowboys today.
We also go ahead. You want to add that? No, I was going to ask you about that defensive line as well. Not just Jalen Carter, not just Jalen Phillips, but how about this? Jordan Davis, Defensive Player of the Week. Not a lot of people saw that coming. He goes out there last week. He absolutely dominates the line of scrimmage. Now we're talking about Jalen Carter playing some of the best football he's played this year. Also having the edge rushing talent of a guy not just in the run game, but in the passing game, being able to go after the quarterback and stop running backs in Jalen Phillips. Now you're talking about Jordan Davis playing at a high level again. Seemed like he was a little bit of a lull there, Seth. Now back on top of his game.
Well, he has to. We talked about it at the beginning of the year. You know, he's in the last year of his deal. He's playing for a contract next year. I mean, so he better show up and start to play with some consistency, because when Moro Jomo comes in the game, he is giving the Eagles that consistency, not only against the pass for a smaller type of defensive tackle, but he's getting great pass rush as well. But listen, the game of football always comes down to the fronts. You know, it's who can control the line of scrimmage. The Eagles have controlled the line of scrimmage the last 2 weeks against two very good offenses, you know, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And guess what? They walked away with 2 wins that no one thought that they probably would acquire. I don't think today's situation is any different. If they can get the run game under control, and I'm telling you right now, this Devontae Williams kid can flat out tote it. He can run it, okay? And I'm telling you that they're going to come out and they're going to try to establish the run, because that opens everything else up. That allows Dak to get to some play action pass. That allows him to get to a point where he can get to the short passing game off the quick play action pass. So similar to last week and the week before, stomp out the running game right now, okay? If teams want to run on first down, stomp them out on first down. Put them in second and long situations, okay? And then understand that what Dak's going to do on second down is he wants half of it. He's going to the short, quick pass on second and long to try to pick up half of the yardage that's necessary, realizing that at 3rd and 3 to 5, that's manageable. He can get that, because most teams are going to play off both George Pickens and off CeeDee Lamb. And you got CeeDee Lamb in the slot. He's going to run off of technique. You line up inside, he's going to push you inside and turn out, and Dak's going to put it on him for the first down to keep the drive alive. But they got to get Dallas behind the sticks, and the way you get them behind the sticks is you stomp them out on first down when they want to run the football.
On the offensive side of things here for the Eagles, unfortunately, they're going up against 2 solid defensive tackles, as we've mentioned, both Clark and Williams. And we're talking about a situation now where the interior of the Eagles' offensive line has not been great, far from the level that they were playing at last year, unfortunately. Now you're also talking about another injury to Cam Jurgens. He is activated for today, but coming off a concussion, just the latest injury there. How much of an advantage might this be for the Cowboys when you talk about their DTs going up against a bang-up interior?
Well, you know, we've talked about it for weeks, how the problem with the Eagles' offensive line has been bigger D tackles have been shooting the gaps between the guard and the center. And now you got 2 beef eaters in there, you know, and the Eagles haven't seen, you know, Quentin Williams with this Dallas defensive front. So that's going to be a test, which to me means you need to be running more edge plays. And I noticed that when they run them with Tank Bigsby, they seem to be more effective when he runs to the outside. I'm not opposed to maybe, and I'm not saying don't take away Saquon's carries. I'm not opposed to seeing more Tank running to the outside on a lot of these plays, because he's been picking up 9, 10, 15, 18 yards for whatever the case may be. If you got to test the interior first and foremost to see what your interior offensive line can do against Dallas's interior defensive front. If it's not working, especially early in the game, hit them to the outside. Take advantage of that and see how effective that can be against this Dallas front 7.
I think they need to refine their blocking a lot more. I mean, this guy sent me a video this week on social media. He asked help to explain it. You know, so the Eagles last week were in it might not even been last week, it might have been a Packers game, but the defense was in a over defense with, it was strong right from the offensive perspective, so strong left for the defense. They were in an over defense, a 5-man front, and they walked the safety down late, okay? Both tight ends out of 12 personnel was off the ball. So the X and the Z was on the ball. The U and the Y were both off the ball. So they motioned Dallas Goedert, taking the strength from the defensive left to the defensive right. You had both tight ends on this side, okay? So when they walked the safety down, the tackle went to get the safety. The guard went to get the defensive end, and they asked the center to reach a 4-eye technique. Impossible. Okay? So it's stuff like that. When I watch stuff like that, I'm like, what are y'all doing? What's the coaching scenario? What's the coaching point on that? Okay? Because running the football is all about numbers. And the Eagles are doing things that they did last year and they got away with that is not working this year because the numbers aren't in their favor. Okay? If you cut the center in half and you count from right to left and left to right, there's always a side where you have numbers to your advantage. And if you motion the tight end, you got even more numbers to your advantage. Like they were at a disadvantage from a number standpoint to even run the ball that way, let alone asking the center to reach 2.5 gaps over to a guy that was just shooting up the field. Before you knew it, boom, 3-yard loss. Okay? So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, the minute that safety walked down, and Jalen, you know that guy's going in motion. So you're actually flopping your strong side to your weak side. Okay? So your strong side is turning to your weak side, and by sending that tight end in motion, you're changing the strength over here. And you have numbers over here. That play should have been ran to the side where the tight ends were. If they did it that way, they got a home run because they got an extra guy, they got angles, they got everything. So if I can see that with my own eyes, pray tell me why it's not happening on the field, man.
That is, you know what that is? That's frustrating. That's what that is. And it's frustration that has nothing to do with Jalen Hurts, everything to do with coaching and blocking schemes. Like to see that get going. When we come back, we're going to give you our Say What's from the week when it comes to this Eagles team taking on the Dallas Cowboys. All that and more when we return on the Verizon pregame show.
New iPhone 17, iPad, and Apple Watch, all for $0. No trade-in needed on any plan.
There's a number on the screen.
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 There is a number on the screen.
There's a number on the screen.
There's a number on the screen. There's a number on the screen.
Since 1893, Weber Display and Packaging has been Pennsylvania's leading manufacturer of corrugated packaging and displays. We're family-owned with 4 Philadelphia locations, 2 converting facilities, a warehouse, and a fulfillment center. Designed through delivery, we exceed customer needs. Weber Display and Packaging. Our core values drive everything we do. Come join our team.
This upcoming segment is brought to you by Verizon. Now it's time to get into our Say What's from the week. We're going to start this one out. I don't know if you guys heard this after the game. I very rarely ever look into the other team's locker room or listen to their press conferences.
Right.
But this was something that just made you kind of understand the pretzel that Vic Fangio and this defense did to an offensive player's brain after the Eagles took it to the Detroit Lions. Here is Taylor Decker when he was asked about what happened last week against the Eagles.
We just, I'm gonna need to watch the film, like truthfully watch the film on this one because it just felt like, yeah, we were just kind of trudging through everything. It was very difficult.
Not just watch the film, Seth. Truly watch the film to figure out what this Eagles defense did to that Lions team. Can they do it again? And is that a guy that is just plain old confused by what the Eagles defense did?
He ain't confused. He know what happened. They got their ass handed. He just couldn't come out and say it that way.
Fair enough.
You know.
Fair enough.
Absolutely, they can do it that way. It's not like Dallas has got like this stellar offensive line. You know, this right guard, he's got a day coming for him because this is the same guy that talked noise about Jalen Carter when they were in college and Jalen Carter dominated him for 3 sacks. And then when he got drafted, I can't wait to dominate Jalen Carter. But be careful what you wish for, okay? Be careful what you wish for. We're going to see today whether what you wish for is really what you wanted, okay? It's not like one of those, like the Dallas Cowboys offensive line is all that great. They're fast, their short and quick passing game, their intermediate passing game makes life a lot easier. But if you can make Dak hold the ball, and I kind of talked about this in my podcast last week with Howie Long. I said, listen, there's always been a synergistic, connection between the coverage and the pass rush. I said, and what you're seeing with the Eagles right now is that, I said, when was the last time you seen Adoree Jackson covering a guy in the end zone on 4th down? And right there, stride trying to knock a ball. When was the last time you seen Adoree Jackson break on an out route and get a pass breakup? I would venture to say that might be his first pass breakup of the season that he had against the Detroit Lions last week. Why do I mention that? I mention that because when you start rushing the passer at the level that they're rushing the passer, it affects how you cover on the back end. And your desire or lack thereof, or the more aggressive nature that you could take to actually want to play a receiver tighter. Like under normal circumstances, Adoree Jackson may have waited for that guy to catch that ball in front of him and then break up on it and try to make the tackle or push him out of bounds. But when you start seeing cornerbacks across the board and linebackers challenging receivers in man coverage, or when they man up or match up out of zone, that tells me that they believe that the rush is starting to get there. And if the rush is going to get there, then I can play more aggressive. I don't have to be as passive as I've been. So when I'm looking at all of this, I'm like, wow, this defense is taking off. It's not only taking off because, they're playing to run better. Over the last 3 weeks since the Kobe Dean has been back, they went from averaging giving up 121 yards per game to only giving up right around 75 per game, especially if you take the 25 out of the Packers game where Jordan Love scrambled for 25. They're averaging right around 75 yards per game. And by the way, I think they need a new stat. The quarterback didn't intend to rush the ball. The quarterback intended to throw the ball. Okay, can we take those yards away and create like a separate stat for them when they actually go and scramble? Because that's not really a run. That stat hurts their ability, to affect their ranking and where they are. But I'm just saying, I just feel like this defense is in the prime position, and they just got to continue to get better. And I think that when you see guys like Adoree Jackson making plays on balls, that means that the confidence level is there. He's not worried about the rush not getting there and him taking the chance to get a pass breakup and missing, and all of a sudden, the guy transitions and takes it up top. It all works together. The rush is going to get there because the pass coverage is going to be better. The pass coverage is going to be better because the rush is going to get there. And I'm telling you, we're going to start getting some more turnovers, not only in the passing game, but, as far as getting to the quarterback, because it's amazing, man. I'm just at a loss for words what Vic Fangio has done again. Worse, 31st to 1st last year, okay? And this defense is trending even better from week to week. By the time we get to the end of the season, I promise you, they'll be inside the top 5. It's going to be hard for them to crack it because they're so far behind now. But by the time we get to the end of the season, this will be a top 10 defense.
All right, we're looking at a Eagles defense that, obviously is good, and Vic Fangio seems pretty good at his job, but I also like the way the man conducts himself during press conferences and without context. I'll no context first. Just, here's Vic Fangio this week on people complaining.
Everybody's got a whine and a bitch.
Never short on opinions. Certainly. Now I'll give you the context. Now the context we was talking about D3 schools not making their playoffs this year. Not as enthusiastic, with that. But when it comes to Vic Fangio just talking about the complaining and all that stuff, that guy, Seth, how much would you like to play for a guy like that?
Well, he's old school. His mentality is like mine. What he's been able to do is to adjust from the old school mentality to be able to survive in this new school world. You guys remember earlier in the season when he came out and said, hey, Jalen Carter is just simply not in shape. He's got to get in shape. And a day later, Nick Sirianni comes out and kind of brushes over it, and tries to cover it up. Because that's the world we live in now. You can't even talk about your players anymore without the head coach coming by and, sprinkling a little emotional intelligence on it. Like, these are grown men making millions of dollars, but you can't hold them accountable and you can't say anything, publicly about their performance or where they are and where they need to be. And then, the next time that Vic comes up, he kind of walked it back too. I give him a lot of credit because I don't know that I could do it. A spade is a spade. It is what it is. The truth is the truth. Set that line free. It'll defend itself. You don't need to defend it for him. If it's the truth, it's the truth, people. I don't understand why people get so upset, with the truth. Like Jack Nicholson, it was that line in that movie, you can't handle the truth. Right. It's so true. And it's even more.
Few good men?
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's even more prevalent today where people would rather you lie to them than to tell them the damn truth. And just be able to handle that is what it is.
You and I, we've talked about this and we debated this last year and earlier this year about today's mentality of the players is vastly different from the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. One coach could yell at 53 players and it would penetrate all 53 because that is how they were groomed from Pop Warner ball to high school to college to the pros. Now you need 53 psychologists.
Oh, yeah. I've been the tip of that spear a lot
in
my career.
But now you need 53 psychologists to handle these players. And I think a lot of players think of today is you're just out there playing the game to make a lot of money. They don't. First of all, they forget you're a businessman now. You're a professional athlete. You're one of the chosen 1,700 few to be afforded the opportunity to wear an NFL uniform. But you're also a businessman and you're playing for a corporation, one of the most respected and powerful corporations on this planet. It is the most profitable sports corporation on this planet as well. And I think a lot of players don't understand that. They think it's just a game. But there's a game within the game that you forget that you have to play, and that's being a corporate entity. I'll never forget, it reminds me from a line from an old movie, North Dallas 40. When Nick Nolte looked at his coach and said, we're not the team, they're the team. We're just the jocks, the helmets, and the shoulder pads, and when we break down, they go out and get new pieces. Now, that concept of what pro football is has never changed. It will never change. When something breaks down, you got to get a new piece. If it doesn't abide by corporate laws, you get a new piece. And I think a lot of these players have forgotten that, in terms of ascending from the college ranks, being highly decorated as a college player, and making a transition to the pros and being handsomely paid.
Fair enough. All right, one more for you guys when it comes to the Say What. And this is none other than A.J. Brown, who might be the Cal Ripken of Say What. He just might consecutively make the most Say Whats throughout the course of the season. Here he was when he was asked about his struggles this year and whether or not he has lost a step.
I guess Saquon ain't the same player either. All right. I don't got no comment about that. I don't care about that.
You obviously don't believe it.
Y'all don't believe that.
All right. I actually love the response for the second part of the response from A.J. Brown. I hate the first part. This is like all of a sudden Saquon's catching strays here. Like, seriously? Like, first off, Saquon Barkley, I know the year hasn't been kind to him, unfortunately. He is averaging 2 fewer yards per attempt this year than he was at the historic rate he was at offering last year. But also, Saquon Barkley is still on pace for 1,100 yards this season, which some people might downplay throughout the year because, they have one extra game to play in. Well, he's a guy that's been healthy enough to play in these games to this point. A.J. Brown is on pace for 777 yards this year. What do you make of A.J. Brown's season to this point? Is it all the quarterback? Is it all him losing a step? What do you make of A.J. and also the stray to Saquon?
He just can't help himself, can he? Like, I know he said it tongue in cheek, but there are some things that you just don't. With everything that's going on around him, that was unnecessary.
Totally.
Okay, but I digress. Let's move on to, to the other question you asking about his production. I feel like sometimes in football, it's your year, and other times it's not. I think because the money is so prevalent in today's game, that guys feel so much pressure to perform and have numbers that fact gets lost in translation. Okay, AJ had, a couple of good years in Tennessee. He's been a 1,000-yard receiver here the last, 3 years has it been? The last 3 years, gone to 2 Super Bowls and won one. And for the first time in his career here in Philadelphia, he's had an off year. Every player at every position has an off year. That's just the way that it is, okay? When he first got here, he was the number one guy. They were pushing the ball to him. I can remember games where AJ was getting 15 targets in a game. Now, realize they weren't having Jalen throw the ball 30, 35, 40 times. Jalen was throwing the ball 20, 25, at the most. And AJ was getting 15 of those targets, okay? While Devontae Smith, a first-round draft pick, and Dallas Goedert was getting like 2, 3 targets a game. Wasn't nobody complaining, though. Nobody had nothing to say while AJ was shining. And when teams now have decided to take AJ away, okay, and to get up and jam him at the line of scrimmage and make him less of a weapon, while Devontae and Dallas Goedert are having career years, Dallas with touchdowns, with 8 touchdowns, with 7 games left, and Devontae, from a numbers perspective, is having the year that he's having, AJ's upset because he's not getting the ball. Why don't you be happy for the other guys on your team that are having career years? Because at your expense, because they're taking you away, those guys are dominating and having good years. It was okay when it was the other way around. Now all of a sudden for 1 year, it's a problem. And I can hear people already. I don't even have to look down in the chat. Oh, he has to get the ball. He's the number one. No, whoever is open should get the damn ball, okay? That's a fact. Now, could they do a better job of scheming and getting him open? Line him up at X every single time, you make it a lot easier for them to cover him. But if you decide to move him around, put him in the slot, and put Jahan Dotson at the X every once in a while, put him in motion, there's ways that you can scheme to get AJ open, okay? But he's a piece of the puzzle. Everybody should eat. Everybody should have, a good year. And this may be Devontae Smith's year, while it might not be A.J. Brown's year. And guess what? He should be able to live with that. He should be able to look at the situation from a different perspective and not be so pissed off and not be so, and not be about him. If the team was losing, I could see it, but the team is winning. So just let the chips fall where they may. And I know it sounds counter because I said last week there's no way the AJ should only get 3 targets, 2 catches for 13 yards. I still stand by that. But what I'm not for is I'm not for the Eagles forcing him the ball just to placate him.
We've seen receivers throughout the years go down a similar path when they're not getting the ball, and some receivers have been dealt elsewhere. Every year except one, AJ has been a 1,000-yard receiver. He's always been considered one of the high-profile receivers in the National Football League, and I understand, frustrations mount. But I think he's also seen enough this season and should know that when he says something, people take it in a different light, like he's being selfish, to a certain degree. I get that. And then, of course, the owner comes down to the field to talk to him about, hey, man, try to control your feelings to a certain degree and do a better job of that. Well, he did, but he didn't in this case. He didn't say a whole lot. He didn't ever. And I understand, like Seth said, we know he said it tongue in cheek. Well, my numbers are down, and so are Saquon. But see, when you say that, it magnifies the situation because of what you have previously said all season long. And I think, unfortunately, the more he doesn't get the ball, I don't think he can not say anything. I think he might reduce what he says to the media. Like when he said, hey, man, ask me about Dallas. Don't ask me about anything else. He might reduce what he's saying. But you look at you can see the frustration in his face. And that continues to tell the whole story, the bigger story.
Yeah, my advice for AJ would be maybe don't quit on routes, and then you'd have a couple more yards this year. That might help you out a little bit.
See, I want to know. See, a lot of times we don't know this. I wonder if that hamstring is still bothering him to a certain degree. I wonder.
I'm gonna tell you the two routes where I've seen him give up. One last week. I think there was, I forget who the other one was against.
Broncos.
The Broncos.
Yeah.
Okay.
He had everybody beat and he slowed down again.
I think the problem with AJ sometimes, he's in this mindset now that, you know, if the ball doesn't come to him right now, that it's not coming. So he kind of relaxes. Where in actuality, whether you're getting the ball or not, whether it's run or pass, you should be going full speed every single play. And when you're tired, just tap your helmet and come on out. Because if you're going full speed every single play, expecting to get the ball every single play, like that be like Jahan Dotson, you know, who knows he's going to get maybe 1 or 2 targets every single game, sometimes not even that many. That'd be like him jogging down the field. Well, I ain't getting it. Well, the hell with it. I'm just going to jog down here. And, well, you never know when the ball's coming your way. So that's why you should play all out all the time, so that when it does come your way, you're not surprised that it's coming your way. You know, and to Mark's point, well, you know, maybe you're right. Maybe there are 5 or 6 other balls that you could have had if you're going all out, if you would have went all out, you know, opposed to you feeling like, well, if it doesn't come to me right now, or if I'm not the primary, well, what the hell? There's no need for me to go full speed. It's like when T.O. was here. I used to say it all the time. If I was playing during that time, if I wanted to know whether a pass was run or pass, I wouldn't have had to look at the offensive line. All I had to do was look out at T.O. Because you know what? If it was pass, he was like, he was ready to go because he knew he was the primary. If it was run, he was just standing out there like this. It was a dead giveaway. It's a dead giveaway. You know, now I don't know for sure and can't say whether that's the situation with AJ, because in a lot of what they run from, you know, he is incorporated in the blocking scheme. So he's got to get prepared and be ready, you know, so he don't have to get ready. But I just think that, you know, this whole thing about, you know, how you play the game, full speed, all out, balls to the wall all the time, you're not seeing it.
You can't be the guy that constantly tells you about all the wrinkles, all the problems, all the issues, all the blemishes, and then be the guy in precious moments to be the guy that gives up. That, to me, doesn't make any sense, and that's where AJ loses a lot of credibility, unfortunately. When we come back, we're going to go behind enemy lines and talk about what the Dallas Cowboys will be trying to throw in the face of the Philadelphia Eagles today in their Week 12 matchup. All that and more when we return on the Verizon pregame show.
Mid-Penn Bank's Sports and Entertainment Division was created because we understand the unique financial situations of both athletes and entertainers. So whether you're trying to win a Grammy or an MVP, reach out to one of our professionals to help us navigate your financial journey.
At Revolution X, we know that fortunes are made in times of uncertainty. Are you selling your investment real estate? Are you interested in deferring your tax with a 1031 exchange? At RevX, we're experts in 1031 exchange planning and the use of passive real estate options using DSTs. Not in the midst of an exchange and want to invest in real estate but don't know where to start? Revolution X has institutional grade real estate options for any size investor right now. Set up a consultation at RevXWealth.com. RevX, defer the tax, maximize the gain.
Gentlemen, are you ready for a wardrobe update? Introducing Divine Nine's Custom Menswear, your clothier for truly unique, custom-made threads. With Divine Nine, you can design your own one-of-a-kind suit, jacket, slacks, shirts, golf pants, and shorts, perfectly handcrafted by our skilled artisans who will bring your vision to life. Prepare to stand out from the crowd with Divine Nine's Custom Clothier, official clothier of Seth Joyner. Custom clothing made for you.
Pride, passion, and persistence. These are the values that drive us all at Ron Jaworski Golf. We strive to deliver outstanding conditions as well as playability for golfers of all ages and abilities. Our championship golf courses offer a variety of challenges, from a link-style walk along the river to an escape into the pines and everything in between. My team at Ron Jaworski Golf is committed to delivering memorable experiences every single day. See all we do at ronjaworskigolf.com.
This upcoming segment is brought to you by Recovery Unplugged. Welcome back to the Verizon pregame show on the Set Joiner Show YouTube channel. We appreciate you guys joining us. Make sure you guys like and subscribe ahead of the Eagles visiting the Dallas Cowboys for a 4:25 kickoff in Dallas. Now we're going to go behind enemy lines and talk about what the Eagles are going to be going up against, specifically the matchups we're looking at. First off, Derek Gunn, you're looking on the offensive side of the football for the Dallas Cowboys. Who you got?
Yeah, I got to take a look at George Pickens. I mean, he's been reborn since he came over from Pittsburgh to Dallas. You remember early on in the season when CeeDee Lamb was out with an injury, he was Dak's primary guy. He was getting 12, 15 catches a game. You look at his numbers now, he's at 58 receptions. He's second in the league in receiving yards with 908, seventh in average yards per catch, almost 16, third in touchdowns with 7, and the man has 14 catches of 20 or more yards. Oof. He's averaging almost 91 yards. He's taken a lot of pressure off of CeeDee Lamb, off of Jay Ferguson, off of Dak Prescott, And George Pickens, that combination has really worked well together. A lot of people wondered how would it work when CeeDee came back from injury. They have complemented each other very well.
Yeah, and since then they have not just George Pickens, but also CeeDee Lamb getting back from injury.
Absolutely.
He's been able to put together a nice season.
I got a remedy for it, though. I'm going to put his ass on Guantanamo Bay.
Yeah.
Well, remember after week 1, we were questioning why Vic Fangio was doing that as opposed to putting him against CeeDee Lamb. Well, I guess we figured that out. And since then, by the way, talking about a great year that Guantanamo Bay is having, 41% completion percentage when targeted, only the best in the NFL. So that's not too bad for Quinyon Mitchell, what you've seen from him this season. As far as my behind enemy lines, I am going on that defensive line. Quinton Williams is the guy I'm focusing on. If you remember, 2 years ago, the Eagles went into New York, or rather North Jersey, to take on the Jets, and somehow they lost that football game. Quinton Williams had a big part in that, including an interception of Jalen Hurts in that Eagles loss. I believe it was 20-14 in the Meadowlands. But Quinton Williams, their big acquisition, one of their big acquisitions at the trade deadline, 2.5 sacks, had 1.5 just last week against the Raiders. So he has gotten it going already as a member of the Dallas Cowboys, someone the Eagles are going to have to focus on. Seth takes this to a whole new level, though, when it comes to his behind enemy lines there.
Yeah, because, I got guys to watch, and one of those guys is your guys, Quinton Williams. The other guy is Kenny Clark. These two guys, the defensive tackle in the middle, are a problem. Not only are they good run stoppers, but they're also good pass rushers. And the weakest part of the offensive line for the Eagles, in my opinion, is the two guards and the center at this point in time. So they're going to have their hands full. And if you can't figure out a way, to double team these two guys, especially in the run game, because there's not a single guy in that interior that's going to block either one of these players one-on-one. They've got to get to a point today where they double team and then work next level to the linebackers. If you don't get these guys under control, it's going to be hard to run the ball or throw the ball today unless you make a decision to get outside. And the problem with trying to get outside against this Dallas defense, they've got great speed on this defense to come up and make plays. So the quick hit and dives up the middle, they're going to be problematic unless these guys, got their big boy pants on today and decide, that they want to be the eater and not the eaten.
When it comes to the Eagles' run game, this is a code we have tried to crack throughout the entire season. And reference the numbers earlier. Saquon Barkley, though, is still somehow on pace for an 1,100-yard season. But we know he is not given the same production that we saw a year ago. And I don't think many people expected another 2,000-type season, 2,000-yard season for Saquon Barkley. But just to get something close to, maybe even in between, the 5.8 yards per carry he averaged last year versus the 3.8 yards per carry he's averaging this year. How do you jumpstart that rushing attack against Seth for this Eagles offense?
I'm going to tell you, I don't even, I'm not in that camp that Saquon has slowed down. I'm not even in that camp of questioning his production.
Okay.
Because I can look at the film and see that the blocking just isn't there. It'd be one thing if, the Eagles were moving the line of scrimmage over on the defensive side of the ball and Saquon was getting the ball, okay? What's happening now is that defenses are pushing our offensive line back. They are stealing real estate. So by the time Saquon gets the ball, there's already somebody, at the minute he gets the ball, somebody's already hitting him. Well, you got to give him an opportunity to get to the line of scrimmage, So all of this talk about his production to me is nonsensical, because if a running back doesn't have anywhere to start, at least let me get the ball and make 2 steps before I have to redirect whether I'm cutting back or hitting it play side. So it all boils down to, in the run game, is the offensive line. Until they start to dominate up front, and until they get to the place where their blocking schemes are better, for one, and secondly, when you're trying to run the ball against a 4-man front, those 2 tackles have to be doubled. They have to be doubled. I'm sorry. If you double them 300, 600 on 300, and you push until you get to the second level, now you're going to have the opportunity to get Saquon going. But a lot of what they've done is they kind of putting a hand on that guy as a double team and trying to run up and get the linebacker right now. No, let's get movement to the linebacker, then come off. Now we're going to get Saquon going in the middle. And once you get it working in the middle, you get those guys on the end, they start peaking and peaking. Now, boom, you can hit them on the outside.
How tough is that going to be today, D-Gun?
I look at this Dallas defense, and for the most part, they can't stop anybody. You know what I mean? But then they come up and they play the Eagles in a divisional game, and it's like all the numbers are flipped, and it's like you sit here scratching your head. How did this happen? I think the Eagles can run up and down the field on Dallas as they did the Giants a few weeks ago. But I think the addition of Quentin Williams also gives Dallas a little bit more stoutness in the trenches than they had. And because of that, I think it's going to be difficult. Now, we know the Eagles, based on what we've seen this season and last year, the Eagles running game likes to start between the guards, and then they start to work their way to the outside, to the edges. I don't know if they're going to find much, especially with Cam. We don't know how well Cam is, first of all. We know he's well enough to play. But we've seen Cam go in and out all season long, just like we saw Lane go in and out all long as well. We've also seen Cam have problems with bigger D tackles, so that could be an issue as well. So I think the Eagles can easily run for $150, $160 on this team. I'm not saying Saquon will get a $150, $160, but I think this team can run for an easy $150, $160 on this team, control the clock, and that could be a deciding factor in this game.
All right, when we come back, we're going to give you our official predictions, also tell you about a giveaway, and tell you our players that we're banking on for an Eagles victory today. All that and more when we return on the Verizon pregame show.
At Mid-Penn Bank, we believe in the power of community. We're not just another bank, we're your bank. We're also your neighbor. For over 150 years, we've been helping dreams come true, financing projects that make a difference locally. From small businesses to community centers, we're here to support what matters most to you, donating time and resources to strengthen the Philadelphia region. And when Philly's favorite superstars need a bank they can trust, they turn to Mid-Penn Bank just like you can. Mid-Penn Bank. Stronger communities, stronger futures. Let's build something great together.
At Revolution X, we know that fortunes are made in times of uncertainty. Are you selling your investment real estate? Are you interested in deferring your tax with a 1031 exchange? At RevX, we're experts in 1031 exchange planning and the use of passive real estate options using DSTs. Not in the midst of an exchange and want to invest in real estate but don't know where to start? Revolution X has institutional grade real estate options for any size investor right now. Set up a consultation at RevXWealth.com. RevX, defer the tax, maximize the gain.
Gentlemen, are you ready for a wardrobe update? Introducing Divine Nine's Custom Menswear, your clothier for truly unique, custom-made threads. With Divine Nine, you can design your own one-of-a-kind suit, jacket, slacks, shirts, golf pants, and shorts, perfectly handcrafted by our skilled artisans who will bring your vision to life. Prepare to stand out from the crowd with Divine Nine's Custom Clothier, official clothier of Seth Joyner. Custom clothing made for you.
This upcoming segment is brought to you by Weber Display and Packaging. Before we get into our official predictions for Eagles Cowboys Week 12, we have some giveaways we want to talk about and tease for our post-game show as well. Seth, what do we have?
Well, first of all, we got ticket giveaways, if you can believe that, to the Black Friday game this upcoming Friday. We got 2 tickets. You have to be in the post-game chat to be eligible for the tickets. So we got those, and then of course, as usual, we've got our, Joyner Family Foundation. We're still continuing to raise funds in partnership with the Legacy Plastic Surgery Group. There is the QR code. There's still time to donate. We've already begun buying different things, Christmas gifts, stuff for the Christmas dinner, hygiene products, for these 3 families. And I know for sure that we've kind of exceeded. So we're going to add a family or 2 to the list. Follow me on social media in the coming weeks. You'll see not only us doing the shopping, but you'll also see, when we actually go to visit these families, to bless them and wrap our arms around them close to the holiday season. So you can, whatever it is that you choose or you would like to donate, nothing's too small, nothing's too big. And, from the bottom of my heart and my wife's heart, we thank you guys who have already stepped up to the plate and support.
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Eagles, Cowboys kicking off in a little bit more than 25 minutes at AT&T Stadium. I'll ask you, Gunner, first and foremost, who are you banking on in this game today?
Who am I banking on? Wow, that's a good one. I'm going to go Jalen Carter. I want to see him crack that Dallas offensive line and do the exact same thing they did to Jared Goff, make him uncomfortable, get his feet moving, because Dak doesn't throw as accurately on the run as he does when he's stationary. So I'm going to say this could be a big game for Jalen Carter.
Jalen Carter, player to bank on. Seth, who you got?
God, D-Gun just took my pick. Ah! Touche, you got me back from last week. You happy? I think that, like anything else, I believe that the run game is the preeminent part of an offensive unit that you have to dominate first. In order to rush the passer, in order for Vic Fangio to call these exotic blitzes and these exotic coverages, you have to make a team one-dimensional. I think the key, along with Jalen Phillips, that trade, but I think one of the most profound keys is the return of Nakobe Dean to the mix in the running game. And not only has he been, a sight for sore eyes against the run, but against the Lions, my goodness, running down the field with Jahmyr Gibbs, running across the field with, I believe it was Jamison Williams. Mm-hmm. He's just stepped up his game. And I think that his part of how that defense works and how it looks, his ability to get through the line of scrimmage and make some negative plays, some tackles for losses. I like Nakobe Dean. I like where he is, and I like the way he's playing. I like his leadership and the energy that he's brought to this defense since he's been back.
I'll just add one more thing to complete the trifecta with Nakobe Dean's play last week when he picked up David Montgomery and threw him into Jared Goff like he was a wee baby.
I don't think he picked him up, but he blasted him. I know that.
He did blast him, that's for sure.
I don't think David Montgomery was ready for that. I think David Montgomery was like, oh, he coming. He ain't got that much lead in his, in his trunk. But Nakobe just lowered the boom on his behind.
Both cheeks. And for my player to bank on, I'm going to go with Jalen Hurts, because while the Eagles might be telling media members like our friend Derek Gunn here that they're frustrated with what he's doing, you know what's frustrating? Not going to Super Bowls. Because remember, for a very long time, the Eagles didn't go to a Super Bowl. Then they finally won one with a backup quarterback. And now they've actually been to 2 with Jalen Hurts as a quarterback. I kind of like this team going to Super Bowl. So I'm going to say today, I'm going to go with Jalen Hurts as my player to bank on. He shows up, shows out today against the Dallas Cowboys. I'll go with him.
Can I add a little caveat to that?
Go for it.
The one thing that Jalen Hurts does better than just about anybody else in the National Football League from the quarterback position is he plays his best games in the biggest games. Okay? I don't care whether it's the playoffs or where you look at it, he always plays his best games in the biggest games. The other thing is the doubt. He loves when people doubt him, okay? Oh, he can't throw the ball. He can't do this. Last year. Is that what y'all wanted to see? Oh, they let me out my straitjacket today. You understand what I'm saying? I kind of feel like this is going to be one of those games because there's been a lot of heat, a lot swirling around him, and I think that he just wants to go out there today and remind people of who he is. I'm Jalen Hurts, okay? I'm the Super Bowl champion. I'm the Super Bowl MVP, and I can get it done when they need me to get it done with my arm and my legs.
All right, here. I'm with you there. Unfortunately, I have the Eagles winning this game close. I'd like it to be a blowout. 21-20 Eagles win today against the Dallas Cowboys, improved to 9-2. Derek Gunn.
I look at all these impressive stats Dak Prescott has when he plays the Philadelphia Eagles at home, when he plays against the NFC East, so on and so forth. But I look at what this Eagles defense is doing. It's rounding into shape to go up the top of the ladder, no question about it. And I look at what this defense did against a Green Bay offense and in a Detroit offense in consecutive weeks. I don't see, even though Dallas is scoring 31 points at home, I don't see them putting up 31 points on this defense, especially on the fast track. This is a fast track game. I don't see that happening. So I'm taking Eagles 31, Dallas 21.
Love it. Seth Joyner.
You know, the only reason that I'm picking such a low number in this game is because of, what we've seen the last 2 weeks. Because I believe the Detroit Lions was the top 3 offense last week. They didn't score a lot. The Eagles have scored respectively, 16 and 10 points the last 2 games. So if that trend continues and the defense continues to play the way that it's playing, I'm not seeing a whole lot of points. I don't know what the under-over is on this game. I know what the Eagles, I'm not sure, what the line is, whether the Eagles are, +3 or 4 or
-4 Eagles.
-4, okay? So I like the Eagles and, I like the Eagles and the points because I think they cover. Give me the Eagles 21, the Dallas Cowboys 14.
There you go.
All right.
3 for 3. Eagles win this game today. For Seth Joyner, for Derek Gunn, I'm Mark Farzetta, for our friends here at Creative Outfit. We appreciate you guys joining us right here on the Seth Joyner Show YouTube channel, 6abc.com as well. We'll be back with you guys with the Verizon post-game show after hopefully the Eagles' 9th win of the season. See you then.
Go Birds.